Have you ever asked yourself why the term food systems is so often heard nowadays? We see a shift in focus from food security and value chains to food systems, both in international policy discourse and in science. In this video, you will learn why this shift has come about and what a food system approach actually entails. Food systems include every food-related actor and process, from the growing and processing of food right through its consumption and how remaining waste is managed. Food systems affect our health, the environment we live in, our economies and our cultures. This means that a food system has to meet different aspirations of many people, such as providing safe and affordable food, income, and keeping our planet healthy. Agriculture and food are critical in reaching many of the Sustainable Development Goals, not just SDG number 2, the one about zero hunger. The facts are alarming. About 735 million people are hungry, while 2.6 billion people are overweight or obese and experience serious health problems. 2 billion people depend on smallholder agriculture, most of whom still without a living income. About 80% of deforestation and 29% of greenhouse gases worldwide are agriculture-related. These are undesired outcomes that we can only repair if we understand the processes behind them and identify leverage points for systemic change. Calls to future-proof the food system have never been stronger. But in order to do this, you may need a food system approach. So far, most of the policies for dealing with food system issues have been managed in splendid isolation. Ministries of Agriculture look at food production and agricultural markets, while the promotion of healthy diets is the responsibility of the Ministry of Health. And environmental regulations for agriculture? You guessed it, that's the Ministry of Environment. These ministries often function as silos, which is a concept in system thinking that refers to subunits of the same system that operate in isolation from one another, hindering collaboration and the exchange of information that's needed to see the bigger picture and innovate. This silo thinking is ingrained in much of our society, not just in the public sector. And it is extremely hard to break down the silos. A food system approach is a way to make conversation and action possible between all actors in the food system, including farmers, companies, consumers, science and government agencies. Now let's unpack what a food system looks like. In the middle, you'll see a range of activities that take place, creating a chain of actors, producing, storing, processing, transporting, consuming and recycling food products. These actors are motivated by a complex set of incentives, economic, legal, cultural. It doesn't happen in a vacuum, however. There are food system drivers that influence it. The socio-economic drivers, such as markets, digitalization and societal preferences for food. Environmental drivers that influence the activities, such as land, water and climate. Together, these drivers and food system activities lead to a variety of outcomes. Socioeconomic, like livelihoods of billions of people. Food security and nutrition outcomes, such as healthy diets for all. And environmental outcomes, like biodiversity and climate footprint. So basically, a food system approach helps you to look at the full spectrum of what's involved to get food on our plates. It's not just about the production of food or the consumption of food. It's the interconnectedness of all these activities, which is the starting point. It is about realizing that if you start turning one wheel, the other wheels start turning too, for the better or for worse. Look at what happens if we boost, let's say, the production of tomatoes, and make sure that there is an improved market for tomatoes. This might be good for healthy diets, not? But if you're not careful, it could jeopardize the quality of soil and biodiversity. This means that you need to think through all the possible actions you can take to determine whether these will help achieve food security and sustainability, or that they hinder it in the long run. All changes in the food system inevitably come with their trade-offs like this. Fortunately, there are sometimes also synergies or multiplier effects. It is important to remember that systems are not static, but dynamic and interconnected. Changing or transforming such a system is not a matter of fixing a bike, but where you replace a broken wheel by a new one, and the next time it happens, you do the same, with the same result. No, food systems are not like bikes. They are much more like gardens. If you want to improve the health of my plants, for example, I shouldn't just look at each plant individually. I need to create a healthy garden by looking at the interactions, by improving the soil, by pruning a tree for the light to come in. In other words, instead of working directly on the problem, which is my unhealthy plant, I need to work on the enabling conditions of my garden. And as a gardener, you need to respond adaptively to a changing context and changing dynamics. So let's recap. A food system is about everything related to food. It currently results in many places in unwanted outcomes, such as malnutrition, biodiversity loss, inequality, etc. A food systems approach allows you to zoom out first, identify the key drivers for system change, so that you know better where to zoom in next. And this can help you to move beyond fixing symptoms, but instead make our food systems more resilient to any future shocks and stresses. A systems approach makes trade-offs more visible, and it gives you options to minimize these. And it also helps to identify potential synergies. This way, you can design interventions that have maximum leverage to shift the whole and avoid negative impacts on other parts of the food system.